You're watching the Run For It YouTube channel. I'm Finlay, and this episode is on the New Balance SC Elite V5 running shoes. This model is New Balance's pinnacle marathon racing shoe. It's designed to feel ultralight and very propulsive. While the design is centered around the needs of elite athletes, such as Alex Yee, who debuted this model at the London Marathon this year, New Balance also suggests it's suitable for a wide range of abilities. Well, we've been testing out the SC Elite V5, so after we've covered the tech, we'll talk through who and what this model is best suited to. Hope you enjoy. The midsole features 2 layers of PEBA-based FuelCell foam and a full-length carbon fibre plate running through it, which you can see through the bottom of the midsole there. Now, there are changes to both the midsole and the plate in the Elite V5. Starting with the plate, the forefoot construction has been changed in a way which increases the overall stiffness by roughly 40%. And this should result in a more responsive ride as you transition through the midsole. The midsole has also gone through a lot of sculpting to help reduce the weight, and looking at the midfoot area, you can see how that's pretty narrow. But New Balance are still confident that this midsole offers enough inherent stability for marathon racing. Now, the drop and stack height has also been adjusted to help save even more weight. The previous version had a 4mm heel to toe drop, but the V5 has an 8mm heel to toe drop. So while the heel still sits at 40mm, the forefoot stack height has been dropped to 32mm, so it's 4mm thinner. And while that still offers a lot of underfoot cushioning, it helps New Balance bring the weight of this shoe down. And with the men's weighing roughly 200-205 grams and the women's weighing around 170 grams, these are very lightweight marathon racing shoes. Now, I promise we're not only going to talk about weight savings, but there is a new thinner outsole rubber in the forefoot section to help bring weight down even more. This new forefoot rubber is tackier and more durable than the previous version, but importantly, it's only 1.5mm in thickness, so that helps bring the weight down even more. What's good to see is on the heel section, there's still a relatively thick amount of rubber, which offers a lot more durability for heel strikers. When it comes to the upper of the SC Elite V5, New Balance really focus on creating a design that hugs the feet and minimizes irritation. So there's very few seams and there's a very breathable woven mesh upper. There is a good amount of padding on the inside of the heel collar and some on the tongue. And yes, New Balance could have potentially saved some weight from these areas. However, there's definitely a strong argument that less isn't necessarily better, particularly when it comes to long distance racing. And Alex Yee will probably be doing some triathlons in these where he's not using socks. So that's where comfort is absolutely paramount. So when it comes to the fit, these are probably one of the most secure feeling super shoes that I have ever tested. The heel and midfoot lockdown is exceptionally good, and it just shows that sometimes a simple, almost traditional style upper is sometimes best. There are just so many super shoes out there which lack the heel lockdown that you need when you're running fast. So if you're a runner who is just simply seeking a super shoe that really locks your feet in, that alone might be a reason for choosing the SC Elite V5. This results in quite a close fit and feel, but because the upper is so breathable, it performs well in the heat. And the toe box accommodates a slightly broader shaped forefoot like I have myself. Although it's worth mentioning that if you're between sizes, you may want to opt for a half size bigger, particularly if you're doing long distance events such as marathon racing. Now, if you have a slightly broader shaped midfoot, the last unfortunately might be a little bit too narrow for you. However, that's not always going to be the case, and the best way to check that is by trying them on in store. Given who the SC Elite V5 have been designed with and all of the changes, I expected the cushioning to feel pretty firm and responsive underfoot, but I was pleasantly surprised that this was actually not quite the case. Yes, it feels very propulsive from the off, particularly through the midfoot and forefoot, but it also feels very cushioned and relatively forgiving underfoot. This means that the cushioning actually performs across a pretty broad range of paces, everything from steady efforts all the way to those really hard VO2 intensities. But it's fair to say that the cushioning really starts to come alive and feel best when you're running at marathon pace and above. At 2:30 marathon pace, the cushioning feels very comfortable. And what I mean by that is it does actually feel pretty plush. It feels like your feet and your muscles are having a lot of stress taken off them. The impact protection is actually very good, but at the same time, you really get that very propulsive sensation from the midsole too. So if you're the type of runner who enjoys your feet feeling like they're being rocked forward with a lot of speed and it feels like you're almost being thrown onto the next stride, then that's what you really get from this midsole design. And naturally that means if you pick up the pace, it starts to feel even livelier, even more responsive. You get so much energy return from that forefoot construction. So that makes it a brilliant option at 5k and 10k pace as well. Not that my 5k and 10k race pace are actually too different from one another. And even though the midsole offers a very plush underfoot feel, it's likely that this model is best suited to runners aiming for faster times. So in a marathon, runners aiming for 3 hours and under. And that's really just because it's likely that the geometry is going to work best when your feet are on the ground for a relatively short period of time and you're transitioning through the gait cycle at speed. Again, using the word likely, it's likely that if your feet are on the ground for slightly longer and you're running at slightly slower speeds, that the geometry just won't quite give you enough support and structure to make you feel comfortable and ultimately to help you perform at your best over a long distance event such as a marathon. I think if you're aiming to run around 3:15, 3:20 up to 4 hours, there's probably going to be better super shoes out there for you, or super trainers which maybe don't offer quite as an aggressive underfoot ride. So who are the SC Elite V5 best suited to? Well, hopefully it's clear from this episode that this model is suited to runners who are looking for an ultra light and propulsive ride for long distance racing, but who also want lots of underfoot protection so their feet and legs feel comfortable for the duration of the race. I think it's fair to say that the SC Elite strikes an almost perfect balance between responsiveness and comfort for long distance racing. And this model is also suited to runners who want one super shoe that they can use across the distances. Yes, some runners might prefer to have a super shoe for their 5k and 10k racing and then another model that's specific for their half marathon and marathon racing, but this genuinely performs across all the distances. We haven't talked about it yet in the episode or since we covered the tech, but this outsole rubber does offer very good traction. I've been testing this out on some faster interval sessions around the meadows in Edinburgh where there's a lot of tight corners, and it's performed really well. So if you're doing some short and fast races where you're going to be changing direction or you've got some twists in there, then this is going to be a great choice for those days. And I think a fair comparison to the SE Elite V5 is probably the Adidas Adios Pro 4, because that's another model which genuinely feels very good across a broad range of paces and distances. And finally, even though the midsole base is relatively narrow, it does offer a good degree of support provided you're running faster. So for example, when I'm running at slightly slower paces in these, I have a little bit of instability in my feet. Doesn't feel amazing, but when I start to pick up the pace, feel very confident in it, feels very stable. So should work for quite a lot of foot types there. But having said that, I think if you've got particularly unstable feet and ankles, but you're still looking for that race day performance, this might not be the best choice for you, and you might be better looking at a model such as the Hoka Rocket X3, which does offer a little bit more inherent stability. And that brings me to the end of this review. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And as always, if you have any questions at all, please comment on the episode and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. See you soon.